Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to A Cup of Success. This is a space where we talk a lot about personal and professional development. My name is Jessica Rojas Liscano, professional reinvention mentor. I started to do this Cup of Success recently in English. It's been a year since I've been doing them in Spanish. And the way I decided to do this is to always invite a guest. And today I have a very special guest who is going to talk to us, to all of us, is going to inspire us with his story about his own reinvention and how he turned his passion into a business. So I don't want to keep you waiting. I would like to bring to stage to Amit Grinvald. Hello, Amit. How are you doing today?
Hi, Jessica. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to have this conversation.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so very quickly, I would like to introduce to our guest today. You, Amit, you have been, if my calculations are correctly, you've been organizing TEDx events for the past 10 years, but you used to have a background in something that didn't have anything to do with it, which was finance and accounting environments, right?
Yeah.
How does that happen? Can you tell us just a little bit more about what you're doing currently? And then we will get into the topic of how you turn your passion into a business.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, I work as a communication trainer, coach, and mentor, as well as a TEDx organizer. I've been a TEDx organizer and coach for just under 10 years now. I started the event when I was in my last year of university 9 years ago. But that was always a passion project that was on the side of my actual career, which had nothing to do with the space of communication. And it was only recently, earlier this year, that I decided to make communication a full-on career and just kind of like follow my passion all the way.
Right, to get 100% into it. Now, tell me something. Usually, what I like to do when I accompany processes of reinvention or career change, and especially processes that actually implied turning your passion into a business, we always have signals, right? There's always a hint. There's always something that tells us what's going on and what is actually leading us towards that passion. So, in your case, it all started with organizing these events. So what brought you to begin with to this idea? What brought you to start organizing events? How do you get into it?
Yeah, I was in my last year of my bachelor university studies. I was president of the student council at the time, and we were looking to create something that would bring the community together in a more meaningful and intellectual ways outside of the typical social events and, like clubs and parties, which were great, were a lot of fun, but we wanted to do something a little bit different. And I've been a fan of TED Talks and TEDx Talks for a long time. My passion with public speaking goes back to when I was 16, studying about Martin Luther King and his I Have a Dream speech. That was really like my first exposure to the power of communication. So when I realized that organizing a TEDx event is something that we could do, I pitched the idea to the university administration and they said yes. So we applied for a license and we've been doing it ever since. It was supposed to just be a small university event, and we've grown through the years to be one of the biggest in Central Europe at the moment. Kind of like a dream I didn't really know I had. It was just supposed to be this little passion project, and it was just through that I've witnessed like the magic that unfolds when a speaker really connects with an audience, which wasn't really the reason that I started doing it, but it just kind of ignited a passion that I didn't really know that I had for, the power of connection through communication. But at the same time, I did my bachelor's degree in business administration and economics. Then I did my master's in international management. I went into the world of venture capital and startups and then finance. And that was my career, which was more based in my education. And TEDx was just a passion project
Something aside.
until last year, where it really became a little bit more than that.
Okay, good. Yeah, well, I would like to react on that because, you mentioned something interesting. It's like you had no idea that this was actually something that it was for fun. It was something that you were I don't know, you were attracted to, it was appealing to you, but you didn't know it was your passion. And this is something that happens a lot. In my experience as a career mentor and somebody who accompanies people through change, I would like to encourage people, everybody who's looking at this right now, or those of you who will watch this later, don't be afraid of exploring, because this is something that happens more than we can think of. So, Amit, it's your experience. You just went along doing something that it was for fun because you just wanted to do something aside and maybe to add something to the way you were already connecting with people. And it turned out to be the way to explore into something more. And I love that idea, and I wanted to react to that because it happens to a lot of people that they don't know. Whenever I think we're using the word passion a lot, and I recently wrote an article about that, whether it is overrated or not. What's going on? We're using a lot this word passion. Passion, should we be passionate about something? And I think it's important to explore that and to feel that, because whatever we call it, whether it is energy, is passion, is purpose, it gives us energy to build something new and to explore something that eventually can become a different source of business, as it is your case, something that you recently started, but I'm sure that you will bring into something huge, because I see your talent and I see your passion. I can feel your passion around that.
Oh, thank you.
Amit, I had a question from the audience. Well, not yet on live, but I had somebody who asked me a question before we actually went live. And I wanted to share this with you to hear your thoughts around that. And this is around the topic that we're just sharing right now. It says, okay, I love the story, but I fear that if I turn my passion into a business, it will no longer feel it's a passion. This is something that I get a lot. How do you react to this? What are your thoughts around this?
Yeah, I mean, I understand what they mean. I think there's a difference between understanding that the passion isn't necessarily about the activity itself. I think there is something in the idea and the notion of, if you turn your hobby into a career, then it's going to lose the fun aspect of it because you have a more professional perspective on it. But I think the key difference is understanding that passion isn't always the activity itself. My hobby may be public speaking, but my passion really lies in connection. That's what drives that in many ways. And that's what I was missing in my previous career. And it's not that I didn't enjoy the work that I was doing before, but now that passion for connection really fuels everything that I do. Communication is the backbone of all of our interactions, and there is something really magical that happens when we break down that wall and show up as our authentic self and really connect with an audience. And that's really where my passion lies. It's not about turning the hobby of public speaking into a career. It's focusing on what really drives that hobby. And I think the passion is really beneath the activity that might seem like the passion that you're referring to. So to me, it's really about finding alignment between what I love and what the world needs, and for me to make that impact to kind of fill that void. And in my case, it's just through helping people kind of break down the walls and connect through their communication.
Excellent. I'm going to quote you on that the next time somebody asks something like that, because I love that idea of, it's not about the activities itself, it's what you get from what you're doing, is how you turn the light, right? Or that energy. Thank you for that. Okay, I had other things that I wanted to ask you while we are here. You are talking about communication, and you're talking about helping people, because now you're a trainer, right? You're a communication trainer. So what is it that you enjoy the most? Now that we're talking about passion, now that we're talking about connecting, what is it that you enjoy the most around this? Communicating, conveying a message, and people learning to do this even better. What will you enjoy the most?
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned, communication to me is the foundation of everything that we do. It's how we connect. It's how we build relationships. It's how we influence the world around us. And there's, again, that magic that happens when someone can break down the fear of doubt that's holding them back and find their authentic voice. I've had the privilege through my work before it was a career, and now that it is a career, of working with speakers from aerospace engineers to Olympic medalists, and I've learned that there is something very universal about connection, and there are common threads that bring all of that together. And what I enjoy most is helping people break down those walls that prevent them from showing up authentically to their interactions, especially in the corporate world and in more professional settings. I think we often feel like we need to put on this formal mask, which can create more distance rather than connection. And my work really centers around helping people remove that and build their confidence in the way that they communicate so that they can connect, influence, and inspire in more meaningful and therefore impactful ways. And what makes this work so meaningful to me is that I really do think that what brings meaning into life is the role that we play in other people's stories. And it's such a privilege to be part of that process, because I not only can allow people to let me be part of their story, but I know I'm just not helping them in that moment, but that I'm contributing to a ripple effect, because I'm helping them inspire other people's and make other connections, and that creates change in their own unique ways, whatever their background is professionally. And to be part of that process is just, it's a privilege, and it's why I can continue to do what I do. And again, it just comes down to being open to connecting with people and helping them connect with other people. And I think that can resolve a lot of problems, whether it's small or seemingly small in our professional lives, or bigger with the impact that we can make in this world that we live in.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And actually, you say something that I share with you 100%. Is like whenever somebody calls you, in my case, because they want to evaluate their careers, how they are evolving, how they are transforming themselves, this is what we are experiencing. We're experiencing transformation, whether it is because people are communicating better, they are connecting better, or they find a way to be different in an environment that is so rigid and so hard as it is the corporate world. Mm-hmm. When you said it, I don't think you can say that even more clearly. It's like you're wearing a mask all the time. You have to really protect yourself against the system, actually. And whenever we have that chance or that opportunity to work with people and to help them transform and to see that there are other ways to work, there are other ways to do things, it's really a wonderful experience. So I share that 100% with you. And I really enjoy that about my job as well. It's like that moment that you get to be with somebody and to, even if it is just to plant a seed, and you know that seed is going to become something, and it will help the person become somebody else, or maybe, well, it depends obviously on the person, but it will definitely become something richer. And when was the moment you figure out, you said a while ago that it has only been recently that you are making this business. So you decided to quit your previous job. Was it something that you planned? When was the moment you said, this is it?
Yeah, it really kind of came externally and organically. It wasn't something I planned at all. I never saw my work with TEDx as being something that I could do professionally or get paid for. No one that does TEDx gets paid for it. It's a nonprofit and a completely voluntary activity. And it was really after last year's event in 2023. I was talking to two of our speakers at the after party, and they were asking me, "Oh, so like, what do you do outside of this?" And when I said finance, which I was doing at the time, their immediate reaction was, "Why? You should be doing it full time." And they're both, professional speakers. They do a lot of speaking engagements. So they told me, there's like a business in this. People will pay you to help them if they know that you can help them make an impact. And a few weeks later, one of the speakers hired me to help him with a big keynote that he had coming up. And that was the first time that someone paid me to do something like that, which felt really strange, because it was always, for 8 years, it was something that I just did because I loved it. So charging seemed a little strange. I still kind of struggle with that a little bit. And then shortly after that, a few weeks after that, someone, a young female leader who was in the audience in that event, messaged me privately saying that, she wishes that she could be as confident and natural as I seemed to be on stage that day, and if that's something that I help people with.
You could teach. Yeah.
And I was like, I mean, I guess I could. So, then I kind of helped her with some mentorship and coaching, and that's kind of how it started. There was just something kind of magical about last year's event that inspired change in a lot of people, including myself. And since then, I've been invited to hold workshops and do more coaching and do more work in this space. So the realization really came when I saw how much impact it could have on people. And I'm in such a lucky position now that if I won the lottery tomorrow and I never had to work for money ever again, I think my life would look pretty similar to what it is now. I might have a nicer car and maybe a slightly bigger but I would still want to do the work that I do now. And that's not something that I can say about my previous roles and careers. And that's not to say I didn't enjoy what I was doing, but it wasn't like the reason in the morning was because I wanted to do that work. It was just something that allowed me, facilitated me to live the life I was living, because it was, paying the bills. And the key difference was my understanding that, connection is really like what I liked about everything else that I was doing. It was like the presentations at work. When I was working in startups and VCs, the pitching aspect of it was always the most exciting to me, because I think pitching is the ultimate test of effective communication, because you have such a amount of time to really connect with your audience, who's an investor, in a way that's going to make them want to spend their money on what you do. And now, looking back retrospectively, I can see that passion that now fuels what I do is what made me enjoy a lot of the different aspects of the different works I was doing when it wasn't necessarily in communication directly, like the pitching aspect of working in startups and VCs, which was always the thing I found most interesting. And now I understand why.
Okay. Well, you said many things that I would like to react to. And I love the fact that you said, and I would like to really reinforce this message, when you said that even if you won the lottery or you didn't have to worry at all about money, your life would still look about the same, because you're really loving what you're doing. And I think that is a feeling that everybody deserves to have. Maybe I'm being utopic, because this is actually what I dream of. I would like everybody to have this opportunity to say what you just said. And you said it so strongly and with such an amazing conviction that I would definitely like this message to be the message that people live with today. It is possible to do something we love, that we feel that even if everything else is managed, we still want to wake up and do this, because we feel this is the place we're supposed to be, and this is what we're supposed to do. This is our mission and purpose of life. And more importantly, this is something that we enjoy, because at the end, life is to enjoy it, right? Even if we're working most of the time. So thank you for that. And I wanted to react to something else. In your case, you said something, you used the word organic. So it was something that came naturally to you. It's like, okay, well, this opportunity came. I was just doing my thing. I was on my environment, your natural habitat, I would say. And people saw that. People saw how you were good at this. And I would like to bring the notion of natural talents, because this is something that I think sometimes is also a little bit pushed behind. It's like, we need to learn everything these days. You need to be good at this. You need to be good at that. You need to be now good at artificial intelligence or in many, many other things. It's like we need to learn everything. And we forget that we have natural talents. And the message I like to reinforce here is that if we focus more on what we do naturally, it's not that we don't need to make any effort, but we make an effort to reinforce what we're good at. And that's what people see more clearly. And that's when people turn to you to do something. And I think that's what you've done as well. It's like you decided to, it's not that you weren't good in finance or in accounting or managing people in this area. You said it a couple of times. It's like, it's fine. I was okay with it. I was enjoying it, but I'm not enjoying it as much as I'm enjoying this. And probably it's also because you're better at this as well. It's something that comes natural to you. And I like to react to that because a lot of people ask me things around this. It's like, okay, one thing is passion, the other thing is talents. Can we combine all these things? And I would like to continue talking about this subject, but to react also at the same time to what you were saying before, because I also have another question from the audience that I would like to share. And I would like to hear your comments around that. Look at this one. Again, this is someone who texted this before. I would like to become a sports coach, but I'm afraid I will make as much as I do with my current job. So this also relates to what we were saying before about how does this start? It starts organically. Do you plan it? What would you like to say to this person?
I think, my biggest piece of advice, I mean, this is kind of exactly what I was struggling with when I was kind of deciding whether I want to leave finance to do, communication full time. Finance is a pretty lucrative industry to be in terms of making money. My biggest advice would be to step back and assess whether your current role or position offers both learning and earning, learning opportunities for kind of personal and professional development, and earning being paid fairly for the value that you're bringing. If you feel stuck, ask yourself, am I growing new skills? Am I being compensated in a way that reflects my value? Sometimes we stay in roles because they offer one and not the other, but that imbalance isn't sustainable and can lead to burnout and dissatisfaction. Again, and once you can identify those gaps, explore new possibilities and start small. I didn't quit my finance job until I saw that the communication work made me enough money to feel comfortable leaving that job. So I was doing both at the same time. So, you don't have to do one or the other at any given time. Take time to transition, take on side projects, network, volunteer in areas that interest you. I was doing TEDx for 8 years before I realized that it was something that I could actually do professionally. And it took a lot of my time, but I did it because I was passionate about it. So that will, it might be shorter than 8 years, and hopefully it is for a lot of people. But that can help you build the confidence and connections that you need to really succeed in whatever else you want to do. I recently worked with a fitness influencer and YouTuber, and he always says, you can make money doing anything these days.
That's right.
So
that's right.
It's just about like finding how can you differentiate yourself in that space and finding, your niche. There's a lot of people that work on communication, and it took me a while to identify what I bring that's different. If you want to focus on the more performative aspects of communication, of what to do with your body language and how to vary your tone, I'm probably not the right guy to help you out. To connect with an audience and resonate with them and drive more impact in your communication, then that's where I can help out. So, so it's just about like finding a way for you to, differentiate yourself in a market that, might be saturated seemingly, but yeah, just like take smaller steps. And once you feel comfortable, then leave it. You don't have to just dive in and have no fear and then, look back and regret. So just test the waters and see what happens.
Excellent. Thank you. I want to add something to that, because I think you have the best advice you can give somebody is like, you have to test, and it's fine to plan. There's a lot of things that you can do, whether if you're really structured and you need a very strict plan, financial plan, that's fine to do it. But still you have to go and see what's out there, right? So I wanted to add just one more thing, and this is more about mindset, right? Mindset around business. And I think it applies to many people, and I know it applied to me many times, and I have to remind myself of this as well. Whenever we think we are not going to make enough, we're thinking from the absence of something. We're thinking from the absence of abundance. We're thinking from the absence of money and everything around that. So, and that's resistance. So whenever we think, I'm not going to do this because it's not going to be enough, whatever that aspect is, that's resistant to our project, and that doesn't allow us to even find a way to do so. So this is a lot, it has to do a lot with mindset. How do you want to start a new business? How do you want to start a new activity? How do you want to test this water? Do you want to test it with the idea that, hey, everything is possible? There's so many ways to make money today, and there's so many ways to create abundance today. Let me see what life brings to me. Or do you want to start with, no, I don't want to go that way because this is as much as I can do right now? Absence, resistance. So building your right mindset around that, and this helps you, it helps me, it helps every entrepreneur out there, especially those who are starting. Always build the right mindset for success, for abundance, and it unblocks everything else. It will occur to you many ideas to create either activities or just simply to build abundance, just because the mindset is the right one.
Yeah,
so thank you for that answer.
Yeah, I mean, so many of our limiting beliefs are because of the stories that we tell ourselves. So we just have to tell ourselves better stories.
Exactly. Tell ourselves a different story. So thank you so much, Amit, for that. Listen, we are reaching the end of this live. It goes really quickly. I didn't say that at the beginning, but it's always the case. So I wanted to ask you, Amit, do you have any upcoming events, maybe some TEDx, maybe probably for next year already, or some workshops? I know, if I saw that correctly, you launched your program, right, as well?
Yeah, so I have a new group program coming. It's launching at the end of January, so it's a 5-week
Okay.
program that will allow entrepreneurs or anyone with an entrepreneurial mindset to speak with more confidence and influence in their communication, whether it's pitches, presentations, client interactions, whatever. It's designed for a small group, so it's just going to be 6 people, so I can keep it super interactive and personalized. There are a few spots left. There's currently a 20% early bird discount for the next 2 people that join. So if that's something that's interesting for some people, then feel free to reach out either on LinkedIn or through my website, which is just my full name, amitgrinvald.com. I'm also going to be doing a free confidence webinar at the beginning of the year. I'm not sure exactly what date yet, but I'll announce it soon, just to help people start the year with a boost of confidence.
The energy. Excellent.
Come back from the break, and I'll have some additional one-on-one coaching slots opening sometime in January as well.
Many ways to reach out to you then. Excellent.
LinkedIn or my website is the best way to keep up with what I do. I try to offer a lot of free practical value as well, and if there's anything launching, then I'll announce it on those channels as well.
Excellent. So I have one last question. I'm sorry about that. I said it when we were finishing, but I like to ask this question every time I have somebody here with me. What would you recommend to somebody who is right now in a career transition, career change maybe, or thinking about starting their own business?
Yeah, I would say, for me, because a lot of my transitions took quite long. So I think it's important to be patient with yourself. My own transition wasn't linear. I went through a 6-month period of unemployment before I took on my last finance job, which I thought was a transition from accounting to finance, and that ended up not really aligning with what I wanted to do, even though I thought that was it. And then now I do what I do now. I did TEDx for eight years before I realized that it was something I can turn into a career. So I would say, just take time, identify new possibilities, get involved in some projects, whether it's like little paid projects or volunteer projects, to test new waters and help you, build the confidence until you really feel ready. 2 years ago, I probably wouldn't have been ready to do what I do now. So I think it came at the right time. So I would say just like be patient with yourself as you go through this, transition in your life, and surround yourself with the right people. I mean, I'm the luckiest person in the world to have the friends and network that I have around me who are so supportive. As I said, I would never do what I do if it wasn't for 2 speakers at the end who told me that I should do this and encouraged me to do it. So, make sure you design your environment in a way that's really, productive and positive for you.
Excellent. So to make a recap of that, so respect your own timing and surround yourself with the right people. I love it. Thank you very much, Amit. Listen, I'm building a community of professionals who want to go further in the life, whether it is they want to evolve in their career or they want to create their own business. This community is called Step Up. For those of you who haven't joined, you're welcome to join. And Amit, you are also welcome to join. And of course, please let us know about those events and those programs you have, because this is something that people need. We need to connect more. We need to be able to remember that this is something that we can naturally do as human beings. And sometimes we forget because we are in an environment that is rigid or that doesn't really support that. Mm-hmm. And we are turning this around. We are the generation who are turning this around, right? So thank you so much for being here. And I welcome you to the group. And we hope we'll be hearing more from you from now on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Okay, thank you everybody for joining. For those of you who are watching this later, no worries. If you have any questions, please just write them down. I always come back to you. And if Amit has something to complete, I figure you will be there as well, right? Thank you so much. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you.